If you're looking for a dog trainer here in Sterling, Virginia, you already know it's a pretty big decision, right? This is about more than just teaching sit and stay. It's really about starting on a path to a much happier, way less stressful life with your dog.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about training specifically for life here in Sterling. Then we'll get into finding your training style, how to vet a pro, cover costs and local laws, and finally, where you can put all those new skills into practice.
Okay, first up, training for life in Sterling. Let's talk about why our local context really matters. So, life in Sterling has its own unique character, right? We've got busy trails like the WNOD, planes constantly flying overhead from Dulles, and bustling spots like the town center. A well-trained dog can handle all of that with confidence. Imagine walking the trail without your dog lunging at every cyclist or going to the town center without a fuss. That's really what we're aiming for here. All right, next up, let's look at the different training styles, the methods and formats you're likely to see. You're going to hear this term a lot, positive reinforcement, and for good reason. It's pretty much the modern standard. The key thing to get is that it's all about rewarding your dog for making good choices. Instead of correcting bad behavior, you're teaching them what you do want. This approach builds an amazing bond, and honestly, it just makes training more fun for everyone. Okay, so you'll have a few main options for how the training is delivered. Group classes, they're great for getting your dog used to distractions. Private lessons are perfect if you need one-on-one help with something specific happening at home. Then you have board and train, which is a really intensive, immersive option, but you have to be extra careful and do your homework before choosing one of those. So, you know the style you want. Now, how do you actually vet a pro? Let's get into the credentials and some key questions you should have ready. You're going to see a bunch of letters after a trainer's name. It can be a little confusing, but these certifications are a good sign. They show a real commitment to their education. For instance, a CPDTK means they've passed a big test on training knowledge. KPA, CTP usually points to a lot of hands-on experience. And if you're dealing with more serious stuff, things like CBCC or CDBC are certifications for more complex behavior. When you first talk to a potential trainer, it's a great idea to have some questions ready. You absolutely want to ask about their training philosophy. You're listening for positive reinforcement. Ask what certifications they have. And this is a good one. Ask them how they'd create a plan specifically for your dog's life here in Sterling. You also want to be clear on how they track progress and, of course, what their fees and policies are. All right, let's talk about the practical side of things. Money and rules. What to budget and what local laws you need to know about. Okay, so this chart gives you a pretty good idea of what to expect cost-wise in our area. You can see that group classes are usually the most budget-friendly way to start. Private lessons and in-home packages cost more, but you're paying for that personalized one-on-one attention. It just helps you figure out what might work best for your goals and your wallet. You know, being a responsible dog owner in Sterling also means being a good neighbor. It really boils down to a few key rules from Loudoun County. First, your dog has to be on a leash anytime you're off your property unless you're in a designated dog park. Second, they need to be up to date on their rabies vaccine with a tag on their collar. And finally, just be mindful of excessive barking. Nobody wants to be that neighbor. So once you start training, where do you go to practice? You've got to take those skills out into the real world. And we are lucky to have some really great spots right here in Sterling to work on those new skills. The WNOD Trail, it's perfect for practicing loose leash walking with all sorts of distractions. Need a safe, fenced-in spot to work on recall? Kincora Village Dog Park is your place. Claude Moore Park has tons of trails for focus work. And if you want a real final exam, try practicing a calm sit and stay around the crowds at One Down. So really, finding the right trainer is about so much more than just fixing a behavior problem. It's the starting point for building a stronger bond and just having a more enjoyable life together, right here in our community. We really hope this helps you in your search and on your training journey. Think about it. Having a confident, well-behaved dog just opens up your world. It makes everything from a simple, peaceful walk around the neighborhood to just relaxing at home with friends and family a much more pleasant experience for everybody.